Welcome to Retro Machines. My name is Victor Bart, and in this video we're gonna build this one new pfSense router. I found this motherboard online together with this power supply for 15 euros. This is an Asus AT5NM10T INASE, and it has an Atom 525 CPU on board. It came with 1 GB, but from old laptops I got this 2 GB stick, so I'm now running 4 GB on this motherboard. And we have 4 SATA ports, 1 PCI Express slot, but that is only PCI one time. And we have PS2, USBs, Ethernet, sound card, VGA and a COM port. And I already modified this motherboard because otherwise it won't fit in a one-use chassis. Here we have the 180 watt Sparkle power supply with a 24 pin, a 4 pin, Molex SATA and a SATA and floppy connector. The motherboard didn't came with an I/O shield, and in a one-use chassis a normal I/O shield doesn't fit. So I found one that was almost matching, and I opened some holes and cut away some pieces. And it became very flimsy because the upper and the lower part you need to cut off. So I put some tape around it and it fits now, and that's much better than without an I/O shield. This is the network card that I'm gonna use, and it's an HP 364T. It has an Intel chipset on board and quad gigabit ports. And this is a PCI 4 times card. So it only connects to 1 time slot. For my current internet this is more than fast enough in a 1 time slot. And to put it on the motherboard I have these risers, and I bought them for €3 from a friend. So this one goes in here and then here on the motherboard. So for the storage I'm gonna use 2 80 GB laptop hard drives. Got them also from old laptops, so they were for free. Of course you can run pfSense from a USB stick, but I like these 2 hard drives and I'm gonna put them in a RAID 1, probably with ZFS. It's maybe not the smartest solution, but I like to have some hard drives in this little build. So I'm gonna use hard drives, but just do what you like, and probably a USB stick is the most easy. I also got this hard drive rack for 2.5-inch hard drives, and I will put that here so the hard drives will fit in the chassis. I have some random 4 cm coolers. I hope they don't scream too much, but we don't need much cooling in this system, but just some airflow. I have rack ears here. I made some extra custom side brackets from the rack ears to this point, so it can be hanged from the front. I also have this USB bracket, and I still need to make a little bracket inside of the case to mount it. But first I'm gonna build up the system and then I will see where I'm gonna fit this. So this is a supermicro one-use server, and I got this chassis for €12.50. And it was white in the front, and also in the back it was just metal color. And normally the power supply is in here, and this is the back and this is the front. And I was thinking, let's modify that, because this is now the back of the system and this will be the front of the system. So it will be really like a router with Ethernet ports on the front next to the switch, and the motherboard also to the front. I blanked off the power supply spot. Here will be the power button and some LEDs, and the power supply will now go here in the back, and the hard drive rack will go in here. Here was a big centrifugal fan, and I don't gonna use it because it was really loud. So I completely swapped over case. So I made this fan wall here, so I can install 3 4 cm fans here, and here a hole for cables. So let's build this system, because I think this will look really awesome in my rack. So the first thing we're gonna install is of course the motherboard, but to make it look cooler I'm gonna put some tape over a few ports, because I don't gonna use the onboard Ethernet port. I don't gonna use the sound, probably not gonna use the PS2. And we have 6 USB ports, so that's more than enough, so I can lose 2 USB ports. So what I'm gonna do is take some tape and put it over the ports that I don't need. I think in the end it will look really awesome. So let's take the I/O shield, put it over. And the audio ports are maybe a little bit difficult now, but it will fit like this. So slide it in. So that looks really nice. And now it's not a PC anymore, but more like a real server layout. So let's put a riser in. So I have this cable from an old computer, and this was the reset button and two LEDs. So I made some holes here, and I'm gonna glue in the lights and the button. So we have a power switch and a power LED and a hard drive LED. Gluing in the power button is a bit of a fail, because I probably glued also the power button. This is not working. I found this one and I'm gonna make this fit, and this one just goes in a square hole, and that is probably a better idea than gluing in this button. So I used a square drill to make this hole. So let's put in the power button. Time to install the hard drives in the drive cage. Normally this is the front panel with here a little display and some buttons, but now I made some room here for the power supply, and this is now the rear unit. This is the new spot for the power supply, and it easily slides in. Normally the rack ears are installed on this position, but I swapped it over to here, so I made new holes and an extra support bracket. So let's install it. So it's time to install the quad network card. And this plastic bracket keeps the card in place. I found this pack of two SATA cables. They are brand new and not that long. For me, cable management is really important. It really makes or breaks a build. The cable management is now done, so time to install the little fans. And we have a CPU fan header here and a chassis fan header here. And for the rest, there are no fan headers on this board. So I'm gonna use this Noctua fan splitter. I made an aluminium bracket here, so I can mount a USB bracket on this spot and have two internal USB sticks if I need those. So the build is done. And what I like about working with all the parts is that for 30 euros you can build something like this with some parts that you already have, and you buy some parts and you modify it, you swap everything over, you make new brackets, new walls here. It's so much fun to work with a system like this and build something that is really your own system, and that only for 30 euros. Let's try it out, because I want to know if it's working. Let's do this. Okay, the system is working and it's now asking for a boot device. And the fans are a little bit loud. To make the 40mm fans more silent, I'm gonna use Noctua low noise adapters. I put a USB stick with the pfSense install here on the USB port. So let's see how much noise the machine will make now. Still some noise, but it is already much better. And we have still airflow and the machine is booting. FreeBSD XS80 bootstrap loader. I removed here the corners on the case cover, and here by the power supply I removed some metal. So let's see if it fits. Nice. pfSense is booted from the USB stick, so let's install it. We want to have a mirror on 2 drives. So pfSense is installed. I don't gonna configure it in this video because that's not the purpose of this video. It's just about the build itself. But let's see if it detects all the network interfaces. Okay, we have the EM0, the EM1, the EM2, the EM3. That's the quad NIC. And we have the RE0, and that's the onboard Realtek, so I need to disable that in the BIOS. I forget about that. So the most important piece of hardware, the quad NIC, is detected. And we have the ZFS mirror running. So we have 3.5 GB memory free. The CPU is an Atom D525 and it's running at 1.8 GHz. And here you can see it has 4 CPUs because it is a dual core CPU with hyperthreading. So it's not that bad of a CPU for a router like this. I really enjoyed making this system and swapping it around and making the custom pieces like this fan bar here. And I used ribbons to attach it to the case, and this custom bracket here, and the power supply location is different, and some closed off holes here, and the power button and the LEDs. Normally the rack ears were here, but now they are here with an extra bracket to give it some more strength. And the hard drive caddy was really easy because it fits just in the holes of a 3.5 inch hard drive. I really love this system, and I love the cable management, that it's all tied down and the air flows through the system, and that cools the CPU a little bit. And of course the network card needs to have a little bit of cooling, just a little bit of airflow is enough. And the hard drives have some cooling. And I did all the modifications without filming myself, because as a YouTuber you are filming everything because everything is content. But then it takes a lot more time to do it. I decided to just build a system and just make this video where I put it together instead of a video where I really make this a bar here. And there's a different kind of video, and that will take a lot of time, and I think the most interesting part of this build is just see it together and all the decisions that I took, but not the whole process of building it. I think it's time to put it in the rack. So let's put it in my sun rack. And if you want to know more about this rack, you should watch my previous video, because that's the video where I built up this rack and tell more about it. And in this rack will be my home lab setup. So the machine fits nicely in the rack, and I really like that the network card is now at the front, so I can use just short patch cables to the network switch. And for now I don't gonna configure it because I need to change some things in the network. The machine is making a bit more noise than I want, so maybe one of the fans is worn out, so maybe I'm gonna swap them out later. But for now it's okay. And this I want to make black. Maybe this is not the fastest router, maybe it's not the best config with the hard drives instead of a USB stick, but for my purposes this is how I like it. And in the future this will be more like a backup system, because I want to have pfSense running at my file server with Proxmox in a VM. But when the file server is down for maintenance, I want to boot up this machine so I still have internet. So like a failover if something happens. Or when I go on holiday and I shut down the file server, I can boot this one up so my father still has internet. So it's more like a backup system in the future, and it doesn't have to be the fastest machine because there are only 2 users on this network. So before we gonna end this video, I want to show you 2 things. First of all, for my Patreon money this month, I bought RGB lights for in the rack. I bought 2 5-meter RGB strips, and I want to put one in here and around it, so if I turn it on and have the door closed, I have a nice glow with RGB over the systems. So if you want to have me buy more RGB for the studio, please become a Patreon supporter. Thank you. And the other thing I want to show you is this Apple Xserve. So it's the first machine as an addition to the rack. I got it for free and it has 2 hard drives in it. They are 1 terabyte Western Digitals and it has 2 4-core CPUs running at 2.8 GHz, 14 GB of memory. I'm gonna make a video about this, but first I need to have the special video cable for this system. But the system is complete, including the original rack rails. My other plan is for this rack, I want to have a SunSpark system. So if someone has a SunSpark rack mount server here in the Netherlands and want to donate it to me, please contact me and we will figure something out. And also, if you have other rack mount stuff that I can use here in the Netherlands, please let me know. Let's fill up this rack. But before that I need to put it on one spot, because when I fill it up it will be quite heavy. But thanks for watching. Please like and share this video, subscribe and leave a comment. You can join Retro Machines on Facebook and support me monthly on Patreon so I can buy more RGB lights. And you can also support me by using my Amazon affiliated links, and you can follow me on Twitter.